Colin.
At the _S dog. Sick of these vulgar topics and these topics about fictional things, so I'm gonna go back to my fucking wheelhouse for a minute because I haven't been there in a while.
Oh, it's a dangerous place.
I was watching Mad Men. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone. The last
spoiler, though.
No, it's not a spoiler. The last episode of Mad Men, the most recent one, took place concurrent to the moon landing.
Fucking spoilers.
And 1969.
They made it. The nuke didn't go off.
No, they made it.
So
there was no Soviet base on the dark side of the moon either, like we thought there was gonna be.
That was more fascinating. I didn't know that story.
And so I was thinking about, there was two interesting themes in that show that, again, are not spoilers, but I'm sorry, maybe you want to tune out if you're really worried about it. One was like the wonder at that time in 1969 everyone gathering around in the United States and around the world to watch Neil Armstrong and company, Buzz Aldrin go on the moon, like walk on the fucking moon. It's an extraordinary thing when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Because real quick, to bring it, I guess this is maybe what you're going to talk about too, but it's something I always take for granted. I remember my mom explaining to me, especially now in this day and age where you send rovers and you're getting all this imagery back. People didn't know what they were going to really find, right? That was the thing. They didn't know what the surface of the moon really was.
Yeah, there was risk of them. They thought they were going to sink into the surface.
When Neil steps off, right, he talks back about there's like a few inches of dust, but
it's like a very fine powder.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
So I was thinking about that, but then one of the characters in the show just brings up briefly like this costed an enormous amount of money, and it's a waste of time and a waste of money, and there's problems here on Earth. And I feel like we've kind of succumbed to that mentality recently especially the last 20 years. We don't even have the space shuttle anymore. We pay the Russians to bring our astronauts into space. With the exception of New Horizons and a few probes and satellites, we don't really do any exploration anymore. In the 60s, we anticipated that we would have been to Mars by now, have bases on the moon and Mars, all those kinds of things. And if we kept going at that trajectory and at that pace, we would. So I guess what I'm wondering is, do you feel like space travel, and I'm not talking about intergalactic travel and light speed travel, these things are not possible yet and we don't know how to do them, but just exploring the solar system,
the known galaxy,
and then going to the moon, going to Mars, sending probes to Venus, maybe going under the cloud cover there, going to asteroids, trying to find life on some of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, etc. Is this valuable? And, it costs an enormous amount of money. We have to understand, and they say it in the show, it cost $25 billion in 1969 to go to the moon. It's an extraordinary amount of money today.
How much is that today?
What
are we looking at?
Almost $500 billion, probably.
Jesus.
Trillion. It was worth it, though.
So that's the thing is, like, here's the positive to me. There was a whole generation of people that were wondering, right? Yeah. They were into math and they were into science. They were into rockets and space exploration and science fiction, and it was the last frontier, as they say in Star Trek. It was like the only place we hadn't gone yet. Right. We were going to go to the moon. We were gonna do all these crazy things. We were going to risk everything. It's basically a suicide mission.
Risk it to get the biscuit.
Is it worth it? And should we still be doing things like this, even though we have real problems here on Earth? And that it would cost for us to go to Mars, realistically, like to really go, like we're going to build the craft, we're going to train everyone, it cost hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
Colin, let me put it in terms that I think that everyone can appreciate, right? There's a little movie that was made not too long ago called Armageddon. And in that movie, we use all of our technological might to save our species. They say they have a great line in it that I'm going to slaughter and paraphrase. But this is for the first time in the existence of anything, any life on Earth, a species has the ability to save itself from extinction. That's all because of that moon landing. That's because we had a competition a while back that gave us the technology that allowed us to save our lives. So if we do not keep on that path, we might be causing ourselves just utter peril.
That's the bigger thing to me is like the way we sit here and talk about it, right? Like the prospect of a probe on Venus or investigating an asteroid.
I have some data.
Plus, don't you want to see Uranus up close?
Oh, yeah.
What's your data?
What cost $29 billion in 1969 is $182 billion today.
Oh, so not quite as bad. Not quite half. It
still sounds like a lot.
It is a lot of money.
The problem is like we're taking for granted all the little steps. All the little missions, little in quotes.
Yeah, Gemini and all
we
the Apollo
want to jump
missions.
to, can we go to Mars? All right, cool. Can we go to, you know what I mean? Like, we want people to go places, so you lose sight of why.
Can we find the mass relay at Pluto?
Exactly. That was why I remember when, if you remember, geez, I don't remember how many years ago, you probably might, maybe, that when the first Mars lander landed on July 4th, I remember watching that being so stoked because it was so cool to see that, you know what I mean? Like, that, but I remember, it was also a big deal to me because I remember it took how many years? 4 or 2, something like that?
Probably like 18 months or 2
Okay.
years.
Oh, I remember them making a big deal about when they launched it. Being
the planets align and you just launch everything, and then
Yeah.
they're far apart. And you don't. No, it's also. I mean, like, I just wonder if we complain about money spent. I do. I mean, I'm definitely conservative, and like I don't want money to be wasted. But when people really aim at NASA, or they aim at the Endowment for the Arts, or they aim at PBS, or they aim at all these things, it's like, come on, like, government shouldn't be necessarily having to fund culture and art and science, but it should.
Yeah.
And that's not where the money's wasted. The money's wasted in entitlements and all of that garbage, Social Security, Medicare, and the military.
Small wars
and if you
that we're starting and still fighting.
And if like you just took half of the military budget and put it
give
into
that a look.
science and funded, things down here, agricultural research and robotics and space travel and all these kinds of things, like, it makes people wonder and makes people engaged and excited, like people used to be. Like, we're fucking stupid today because we have nothing to aspire to, and I was watching that show and really thinking, like, that must have been an amazing time because people wanted to get into astronomy, they wanted to get into astrophysics, they wanted to get into engineering. This was like what they aspired to do. They were reading Ray Bradbury books one minute and they were looking at the fucking TV and we're on the moon, and like we don't do shit like that anymore.
Yeah, but see, I think it's valuable to want to know what's in space and to do all that stuff. I don't think it's worth it because of the money and stuff. Like, we have so much problems here. You're right. Like, why don't we just use that money to fix the shit going on here? And I feel like the competition is just different. Like, before, everyone wanted to be an astronaut. Now everyone wants to be, I don't know, TV makes it seem like people want to be coders and all this stuff.
Yeah,
like,
but that's
what's cool.
Now everybody wants to make money.
Yeah, which
Now?
I don't think that was. I mean, like, for what he's talking about, I think there was a while there where people were like, I want to be a scientist, or I want to go to this, and I want to. I mean, I don't think people were in that for the money.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people now, like a lot of people that aren't necessarily in it for the money. They're in it for the, like, yeah, the money's a byproduct of it, but it's like, I want to create something. Like, I want to be the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's that drive to be that. Like, maybe that's not money, but that is that. In
Well, I
the
feel
same
like
way,
the
like,
reason
they want to
that
be the
is
guy going to the
because
moon.
we haven't really been funding that space exploration, right? Like,
Yeah, we only spend like $15 billion a year on it. Like, it's barely enough to do anything.
and everything's PR, right? Everything's like, yeah, Steve Jobs, everyone aspires to be him. Well, because he was such an iconic figure, everyone wants to be that iconic figure.
Yeah, doesn't everybody want to be famous? I guess. Maybe
Yeah, they want to
that's
be
a different
famous. They
thing.
want to have a company that's the best company in the world. They want to be a billionaire.
If you're not Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, or the crew of Apollo 13, or the teacher who died in the Challenger, like, what spacemen, what astronauts are there really that are like famous? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just something interesting I was thinking about, just in the sense that we don't aspire as a people. Like, that took real sacrifice. We sent people to the moon in spacecraft that had the fucking processing power of a TI-82 calculator. We fucking did it.
It's awesome.
Can you imagine, like, what we could do with Apple technology, what we can do with all the things we make on Earth for practical purposes, if we just said, like, we're gonna spend the money to do this, and it might not be practical, and maybe we get some minerals and some rocks and we learn a little bit more about space, but maybe it brings a whole nother generation and brings them into the things that they really should be studying. I was talking to my friend Sarah recently, who's a teacher, about how I'm really frustrated that no one said to me, I'm so happy that I majored in American history, and I went to, I'm proud of the school I went to and all that kind of stuff, but no one ever said to me, like, you know what, like, this is great that you want to do this and this is fantastic, and historians are necessary and people must know this information, but maybe you want to study math. Maybe you want to study engineering or be a scientist or a physicist or a biologist or a chemist. We need those kinds of people.
Yeah.
And we don't have them. To the point where we actually have to get immigrants to come here to fill in our high-tech jobs, because no one's studying that shit, because everyone says it's okay, go study medieval English literature and get a master's degree in that. And that's fantastic and you're educated, but is it practical and is it useful? And like, I feel like we just don't have anyone like we did in the 50s and 60s with Gemini and all these things in Apollo, where it was, this is what you want to do and here's the result of what you want to do and look how fucking cool this is.
Yeah, but what's so cool about it? I get that it's cool, but like,
What's so cool about it?
No, it is super cool, but like, I don't understand like what's so practical about that. Like, great, we went to the damn moon.
Well, a lot of stuff.
One thing that might be that sounds a little crazy.
Like, that
sounds like a young person that doesn't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get a lot of things, but like, I just,
You don't
like,
think it's mind blowing
it's
that we
mind-blowing.
left this planet?
That's cool,
and
but like,
went
what did we get
to
from
the
that?
moon?
What did we get from it?
We got moon rocks.
Well, see, I think
Okay, great. We got moon rocks.
I think that
Just the feat, like let's say I was able to run this entire block in a half-second flat. What did we get from it? nothing. But it's amazing that I
It is-
did
no,
that. It's
it is
incredible that I did that.
That would be amazing
It
that
is
you did
so
that.
That's the
amazing.
moon.
But who cares? Like, why do we need to like change
Well,
what we're studying
I
and
think
stuff
it's,
so that we can do cool
because
things?
I think it's the sense of wonderment, right? Like Colin was saying, like the iconic line from Star Trek is space, the final frontier. There is a vast, just infinity out there of unknown possibilities that has a sense of and carries with it a sense of wonderment that we should be encouraging in people that are growing up and in each other, right? And what Colin's talking about is like for 1 second, because of the indulgence in that sense of wonderment, the entire world watched the same thing. Like there was probably not one person, unless you didn't have a TV, which I'm sure there were plenty of people. But if you had a TV and you could get that signal, you were watching that event as that happened, right? And there are very few things other than huge catastrophes that we actually join us as a.
That's what I was thinking about. I was trying to remember, like, again in Mad Men, and this isn't a spoiler. The next day, Peggy makes a presentation and she talks about it right away.
Right.
Like I know y'all watched that. And I was trying to think about it. Like, what is the last positive event that we all were like the next? I guess like Obama
It
getting
definitely
elected.
wasn't the Olympics because I didn't even know those were happening until
Right, like
over.
Obama getting elected, that was a big deal, right? The first black president. That was something we all did, but I don't think the whole world watched it like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I bet they did actually.
Some people did actually.
I
Probably.
mean, I don't know. I hear what Tim's saying in the sense, like, we got a lot of practical science from the space program, and a lot of things that you use every day come from NASA.
Well, and let's-
but like a lot of shit, like plenty of shit. But like, so like, well, we don't know because it's the proofs in like having to use it in those extraordinary circumstances. But to me, I've been reading a lot, and I have been recently about. There's a lot of declassified documents from the government and all, just a lot of talk about what we thought we were going to do. And I was telling Greg that one of the things that like we thought we would have moon bases in the 50s. The government wrote all this stuff up anticipating that we'd have moon bases, and not only we would have moon bases, but that we would be fighting the Soviets on the moon.
Yeah, but see, that's what I was going to say. We don't have an enemy anymore because the enemy is the competition that bred the excellence of us getting to the moon, right? The reason we went to the moon was because we wanted to get there first so we can get a strategic advantage over the Russians, right?
Yeah, well, we wanted to disprove the superiority of our science. And
Yeah.
we were behind the entire
Yeah,
time.
so-
I mean, they sent the first man into space, first woman into space, first animal into space. They sent the first rover or the first probe to Mars or to the moon.
Was
They
the
went
first
to
animal-
Venus.
Yeah.
Like, they sent, their probes to Venus, landed on Venus. The crushing pressure destroyed those crafts. But like, the moon landing was so extraordinary. The Soviets would always tell us, like, you guys are full of shit. Your shit sucks. Like, all that kind of stuff. They never disputed that we went to the moon. They knew we went to the moon. Like, they were impressed by it, and like it humbled them, and it took a lot of brain power and a lot of minds. That was a smart generation. I guess what I'm saying is I want us to get back to that point. I want us to start, I want us to squabble about the money that our government spends. We have an enormous debt, but I want us to look at where we're spending the money and what we're spending the money on. Our entitlement programs are fucking huge and outrageous. Our military programs are huge and outrageous. We have all these bullshit departments that we don't need to be paying for, a bureaucracy. We can take that money and give it to brilliant scientists and inspire a generation of kids and do what our forefathers in science thought we were going to do already, which was go to fucking Mars, go to Mercury, go to Venus, go to Europa and Io and Titan.
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah.
Like, one of the great things that I think is happening and a lot of people don't pay attention to is in 2005 we launched a probe called New Horizons that's going to Pluto, and it gets there next year. We've never seen Pluto. We don't know what Pluto looks like. We only have these like 4, 5, 6 pixel images because it's so fucking far away, and we're eventually going to go within 5,000-10,000 miles of it and see it, and that's extraordinary. We don't have the technology to do that. Hubble can't see it. You know what I mean?
I think that,
and like
like-
that's amazing.
So, like, I think that there is, though, a resurgence of that, right? I think I can really thank Cosmos for it because there was a time, I don't think I've ever talked astrophysics with anyone in my entire life before, but there was like a week period there where all of us were like, no, dude, a black hole is this. No, this is what a quasar is. This is a pulsar. Like, this is this. That's really, really cool. I think maybe that's one step into it, right? Is having more television that's like that really is well produced, kind of like Star Trek. Because there was a time also where Star Trek and Star Trek Generation, all those shows would help kind of fuel that a little bit, at least for me. Like, I'm still watching Voyager, which, again, I don't know if it's better than Deep Space Nine. Please tell me if you think
I
it's
think
better.
most people think Voyager is better than Deep Space.
Is it?
which one has Scott Bakula?
That was Enterprise, which I actually really liked, but no one else did, sadly. It was not the best of the Star Trek shows. But like that's we still have those. But you're right. I don't know what it would take. I don't know what it would take to get people back on that track. Like, it's just like Tim's talking about. It's just not a priority. I don't know how to get the youth of America to see it as a priority.
It's a shame, right? Because we were so close. Like, we set foot on the moon.
But close to what?
We're still going to it.
Well, we were so close to this arc of being like of enlightenment, where we were like, we're fucking going.
But I mean, like,
we're in
great.
space.
What's the ultimate goal here? Like to spend a shit ton of money to then go up to this cheese rock.
But we could be on Mars. We can go to Mars. We can figure out. We can figure out. There's extraordinary things we can do.
There's
There's
oil on one of these planets, Tim.
It's not even about the. It's not. Well, there's
I
obviously
mean-
not oil because oil is fossil fuels.
Hey, there might be oil. That would trip
But
you
dude,
out.
there's so many reasons.
Gold. There might be gold.
First of all, there's no
Rare
way.
ore.
There's no way that we're the only life in the universe. It
Yeah,
would
for
be
sure.
it would be
I get that.
stupid if we were. All right, so that's one thing. The other thing
Wait,
is
what would
that
be stupid life.
if we were the only
We're
life
the
in
only
the
ones.
universe,
That makes no sense.
that's so dumb.
No, it's mathematically impossible.
Stupidly dumb. The other thing is that any scientist, any expert will tell you that there's no way we can keep up our lifestyle on planet Earth the
good
way
call.
it is right now. Unless everyone agreed to stop having babies, there's no way we can keep this up.
Thanks, Justin.
We really do have to figure something out. Whatever the new Chris Nolan movie is Interstellar. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
We may have to move one day.
Well, what if we just put that money into figuring out the problem with what we got?
Well, because
because
I don't think that we can figure the problem out. I think the problem is
So we
not
gotta go to
it's-
space.
No, it's systemic. Well, I mean, there's a lot of there in early NASA days, we assumed that we would go to Mars, that we would try to terraform it, that we would figure these amazing things out, do these amazing things that we can do, create things called Dyson spheres, which are you put around the sun to harness its power. It's like an infinite amount of power. We often think that we might not be able to see the stars that intelligent life, their planet revolves around, because they build Dyson spheres around their suns, which would block all of the light out.
Really?
And it grabs all of the energy out of the sun. There's these extraordinary mind experiments, but that are practical and we can do them. The only thing we can't do is travel faster than light, but we can probably figure that out
we
too.
gotta figure that out.
There's two things, Nick.
And here's why that's cool. Because you get to see something do that cool Star Trek thing where it goes, Zoop.
See,
That's
my thing,
badass. That's worth
the thing
it right
like,
there.
why does
for
it
me.
even matter? Is because we can't make the big jump to leaving our galaxy and doing something else until we make all those small steps.
I totally get why it's valuable. I think it's not worth it. Is the only thing. I think there's so
To
much
find
more.
another life out there, it would unify the entire planet. We'd end all wars.
No, see, but that's the
There'd still
thing.
be a lot of assholes. But
No, you can't say that. It's
Yeah, I can.
there's
I just did.
so
I
many
just
bad
said it,
things that
everybody.
can
I
happen
think you
from
just said,
this.
can we get playback?
There's so many risks. There's the risk that there's
Good
nothing.
douche.
There's the risk that they're fucking assholes, and I'm gonna bet they're.
That is the
fucking
one thing is they're
assholes.
probably going to kill us. They're going to kill us.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories on that. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's two things that are going to strike people really hard in the next 10 or 15 years that are going to make people wonder why we just gave up on this. One, that the Chinese are going to the moon and they're going to fucking land there. And you bet, and they have a lunar program and they're going to go and we're going to fucking see them walking up there. We're going to be like, motherfuckers. They beat us to it and now they're way ahead of us and they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
They're not
What
going
are
to
they
stop
gonna
at the
do,
moon.
like
They'll go to
colonies?
Mars, and they're going to be the ones that pioneer. God bless them because they're doing great science that I'm sure they'll share with everyone. But it's a national pride thing. We went to the moon.
Yeah.
The Canadians didn't go to the moon. The Europeans didn't go to the moon. We went to the moon.
Can't do
And
shit ever.
the Chinese are going to send astronauts to the moon. That is something they're going to do, and and they're going to walk there, and they're going to have this great modern technology.
And all of us as a world are gonna watch them, and it's gonna be like, that's fucking cool. And we're gonna go back to playing with our iPads and our next gen shit that's actually gonna fix things. Well, the Chinese are up on the moon chilling.
Our iPads are gonna fix things.
Yes, the next gen of
It's
that. And
all,
whatever
it's
we're
all for
figuring
me
out.
how I can read comic books easily.
The other thing that's going to happen is that private enterprises like SpaceX and all these other companies are going to be the ones that go into space, and it will be for profit. And we're going to wonder why.
That's how Aliens is, Wayland Company,
yeah.
man. They go out there to mine stuff.
That's exactly right. And and that's
aliens.
fine, and that's great. I mean, that's practical. We need to mine asteroids and do all those things, and that's super practical, and that's great.
The aliens.
But
Like those Canadians.
But we're gonna wonder
Shit.
why we let go of the altruism of going to space and doing it ourselves and doing it as a people instead of letting companies with lots of money invested interests doing it. And that's gonna happen too. We don't have a fucking space shuttle right now.
Aren't they building them though?
They're building a
Okay,
new
just make
generation.
sure,
of
just
them.
make
Yeah,
sure.
we retired the space
They're
shuttle.
cool
We'll
looking,
just pay the
too.
Russians to go to the space station.
Well, with all due respect, they were exploding, so we needed to get them off the market.
That's fine, but you think that we would have had the foresight to be like, maybe we should build these concurrent to fixing the space shuttle.
yeah, you'd like to think that,
When
yeah.
are they going to make a spaceship that looks like the Starship Enterprise, though?
Shut up, Nick.
Like, get
Yeah,
kinda
really,
and
they
just
go.
They'd have
launch
to
into
build that in
space.
orbit, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that'd be. Oh, but you know what I mean? Like, when are they going to make one that looks like a spaceship should look?
I don't know. I don't know.
Not
If,
just
I don't know
like
if that
a
looks
fucking
practical, to be honest. with
bloated
everything
ass
else.
plane.
But-
Yeah, like that one. Like the current spaceships. No offense to spaceships out there, it does look like it put on a couple pounds.
But
you know?
I'll end it with this, right? I think that part of government, part of our society is not only the things that we say, but the things that we do. And it's important to fund art, and it's important to fund history and historical sciences and archaeology and all these kinds of things, because really it's chump change at the end of the day compared to Medicare or Medicaid or the Army's budget and all these kinds of things. And it's important for us to focus on science. It's really, really important. You know, like really, really important to focus on science and engineering and mathematics.
Yeah.
And a private company like Apple is not inspiring that. A private company like Apple inspires you to sit with your fucking iPad and play with it and wait for them to release the next iPad.
Yeah.
Sure.
Going to space and seeing with your eyes what these amazing people do and these amazing scientists build and these brave astronauts that go to space with no guarantee. Apollo was looked at as many people as a fucking suicide mission. You know? The fact that they came back is amazing. They went through the Van Allen belt and all these things, fucking bombarded with radiation. You know, like, we have people on this planet that really walked there. And I think that inspires a new generation to do cool shit. And we are stagnant as a people. Our technology, as Ray Kurzweil or whatever always talks about, is the exponential growth of technology, right? The singularity. We're getting there, but we're getting there in weird ways. We're not getting there in cool ways. You know what I mean? And like,
I don't agree with this at all. We have so much cool shit. I want cooler shit, but I don't think like
what's cool. I mean, we have a computer and then a computer and a computer and a computer and a tablet and an iPhone and an iPhone and a tablet and a computer.
Cool.
But like, what do we use them for?
Cool
Trophies.
things.
For Snapchat.
We use them
Awesome.
so to take
With
pictures
Dan,
and
I
tweet
like
with
to
each
use them
other.
for Snapchat.
We're not using them to figure out amazing answers to science that can contribute to the historic knowledge that started with the ancients. You know, and go forward to
I know.
today.
It sounded like you're interrupting to say something important. You're like, and then just like, nope, got
Because
nothing.
it's really dry. It's really dry.
So that's
in San
it.
Francisco right
Just
now.
wanted to bring that up and kind of rant about
I'm
that.
with Colin.
I think it's good.
I want
That
there
was
to be
fun.
Star Trek. I want to get to Star Trek. I want to be able to think that one day we'll have Star Trek. Then they'll come back in time for some reason.
What do you want about Star Trek, Nick?
To explore universes
That's
and to beam
really
places.
it's just to
I
explore.
want them to
go
figure
in the
out
woods.
teleportation.
Go explore the woods.
But that's the thing, Tim, is
Seen
that there
it.
is nothing left to see.
I want to find the
in the
aliens.
woods. What
There's-
about really deep in the ocean?
There's that. Yeah,
I
we
feel
can go
like
into some of the
places
trenches.
like-
They always say that there's plenty of undiscovered life, and that's fantastic. What's really out there, the age of discovery in the 14, 15, 16, 1700s, you know, when Columbus was going around, Magellan, all the, you know, Marco Polo, everyone was traveling around. That was a time of wonder in the old world. That was a time when people would fucking read the shit out of their journals and wait for them to come back. Everyone was wondering, when Magellan come back, what would he see? What would he do? Did he really go around the world? We don't have anything like that anymore. Going out into space is the next thing.
Here's why I love the concept of, like, if we could fire that back up. A lot of our technology came from that too. A lot of our current technology came from that. So if they were to able to figure out a means of travel that was faster than light, that would come down to Earth at some point, and we could be able. We could go to China tomorrow if we wanted to.
See, I
in
get
like
that.
5 seconds.
So why that happened? Because there was a fight, right? Competition that things had to start.
Generally, yes.
Let's have a fight here. Let's
Well,
have
some of that
competition
stuff
here.
came out of World War II, which is not very good either. But
That's what I'm saying.
But
Like,
that's
we
the
don't
thing,
need
that's
to
what
go to
Colin's
space
saying is
to have a war.
we don't inspire people to have that sort of competitive nature towards space travel because there's no profit in it, and oftentimes our society right now is it's all led by profit. If you can't make a profit on something, people just don't do it nowadays, which kind of sucks. You know, back in the day, we did it for national pride. We hemorrhaged money to be the first to say in the species of human beings that we did this, and we can. Yeah, they made it to space first, but we got to the moon, which for whatever it's worth is awesome.
To draw the line from inventing the wheel to going to the moon is mind-blowingly awesome.
Yeah, and not. Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, man, that's a
So
great way
where
to
does
put it.
my iPhone fit into this?
Your iPhone came from probably a lot of computer technology. It was iteration of
Your
iteration of iteration.
TI-86 calculator came from the shuttle that went to the fucking moon.
Yeah, I mean I can't.
That was a
I
joke.
don't know if that's a direct correlation or not. But yeah, I
It
mean,
wasn't.
But competition does breed that sort of spirit, right? The
Galaxy and
space, the space race sped up technological advancement because we basically poured tons of money into figuring out how to achieve this one thing that, yes, in and of itself, didn't do much for us. We didn't come back with space power that was worth billions of dollars, right? But we did feel the effects of it, and we are still feeling the effects of it.
The thing is,
The microwave.
Huh?
Boom. The microwave.
Is that what came from there?
I don't know.
There are
That's the-
1,300
they
pieces
said
of
that in
technology
Men in
that came
Black.
from NASA.
Okay. I get what Tim's saying. That, you know, is it worth it? It's hard to put a value on it. But the problem is that even if you redirected that fund to something else on Earth, like, it's not. It wouldn't be like a simple fix, right? You're never gonna have enough money to fix everything. It's not like we move that money somewhere else that fixes these problems. People are still arguing about people getting married. That's the, you know, I mean, let's distract
go
them.
space.
Let's distract
They can
them
get
with
married
awesome
there.
space stuff. Yeah. People get to the moon. The gays can just declare it and they
I
can
want
do
to be the
whatever they
first
want.
person married
It's
on the moon.
aspirational and inspirational.
Yeah.
You know, like take 10% of the military's budget, give it to NASA, and we can do amazing things. You know, end these stupid fucking wars, close our World War II era bases in Europe, do all these things, and give the money to the fucking brilliant people that can do good things. You know, and we can get more amazing technology. I'm telling you, man, like. Society can radically change, and Damon's right. I mean, there are practical reasons. The Earth has only got a few hundred years left in it in terms of it being habitable. You know, and like
I hate to
that's
say it, but that's true.
and like the Earth's gonna be here for 5-10 billion more years,
So
right?
keep
Like it's
having
gonna, but it's gonna
kids.
be a fucking dead orb rotating or revolving around a sun or revolving around a star because we're fucking killing it just by the nature of our species. We outwitted evolution. We're the first species on the Earth to ever do it. We are self-aware.
It's
We know
awesome that we're that smart,
Yeah.
but we're like too smart for our own good.
So that's why Einstein and other, you know, Sagan would say like we might extinguish ourselves, and that's in the formula, and I think that was the formula that says how much intelligent life there is in the universe. I can't think of it what the name is. It's not Fermi paradox, but something else. The Drake equation, where one of the things is like the likelihood of a species getting to a point where it extinguishes itself,
Right.
because it becomes too smart, and if you can cross that boundary from not extinguishing yourself with nuclear power or pollution and all these kinds of things, then you're good to go. You know, like in perpetuity. I mean, that's what they say. Like you're transcendent. I mean, you're good to go. If you can get past that point, then you're good to go. Then you start building Dyson spheres around stars. Then you start going to asteroids and mining them. Then you start doing amazing shit. Like,
Yeah.
and then it all trickles down.
I just think of every sci-fi movie that I've ever loved or like wanted to be like in that universe. That's
Right?
what we did. We did
Where
that
there's
stuff.
wars and everyone is
Nah,
dying and there's
see-
lasers that are shooting people.
Nah, and like Star Trek. Like Star Trek was amazing because of that sort of, they hit that level and they went beyond it, where they had technology that was given to them by, you know, the Vulcans and other alien races, and they were able to achieve a peace that they have never known. Like the Earth in Star Trek is, for all intents and purposes, like very, very peaceful. It's one person. It's one federation. I think it's a federation. Well, it's not one person. One
There's
people.
one person on
Rather, I don't think they go.
What have I done?
I don't think there's a lot of governments. I think there's just one government. But that's the thing. It's like it's this utopian society where we're not even run by currency anymore. There's no currency. We just in Star Trek you just kind of go and you explore. Like you have a job and you
just
go
take
up
what
the
you
ranks,
want.
But the whole concept is you're supposed to, like, you know, you're propelled in life by, you know, ambition or like wanting to achieve something better, and that's the concept of it, right? So you just go gallivant around the universe and explore new people, and if you're Captain Kirk, have sex with them. It's pretty cool.
The
Good
real
deal.
reason we need a space program is so that we can stop an asteroid when it comes towards us. Right
That's
now,
what I said.
we'd be screwed over. No,
I
you
can
said a whole
stay
bunch of
awake
garbage.
just to hear you breathing.
Also, I watched.
I was like, are you going? Watch it smile.
No,
No,
sorry.
Also, I watched Alien last weekend, and that movie totally is still awesome.
Yeah,
that's a count against. That's an argument for Tim. We should probably stay away from space.
I know.
If we discover that thing,
We're gonna bring back a bacteria one day that fucks us
Screwed.
up.
I'm just saying that movie is really, really good.
Yeah,
it's
movie is
totally
awesome.
beautiful. It's really good.
Wayland Yutani Corp.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Game Over Greggy show. Every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around a table, each bringing a random topic of conversation, and they hatch it out for your amusement. If you like that, make sure you get the full MP3 version of the show every Friday over at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com. It's $1. It's totally worth it. But if you say, nuh-uh, it isn't worth shit, no big deal. We understand. It goes up for free, topic by topic, every day as videos over on youtube.com/GameOverGreggy. You can enjoy them there. Friday, the entire show goes live. I was doing that earlier. Wolverine claws.
Yeah.
I do that with everything.
Great minds, as they say.
They fuck alike.
They fuck alike.
Just keep those markers away from my brand new awesome shirt that I'm wearing today.
Oh, this new life-size Portillo shirt that's limited to 35 t-shirts. You can get that one, this one, and a whole bunch of other ones, including Sean Finnegan likes hiking over at districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy. Damon, thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Damon.
You were great. Usually, like on the
You're great.
where can people get you? They can get you on the IGN.com.
Oh yeah,
I've heard of it. You got the
yeah.
Game Scoop.
That's so good. Game Scoop, yeah. If people want to check out DamonHatfield.com, that's also a thing that people can check out if they're interested in my music.
I'm also
Nice.
a huge fan of y'all's show, the Knockin' Boots.
That's
We
Super
also have a
Boots?
Super Knockin'
Super
Boots
Knockin'
show.
Boots.
That's
Few
also a
records?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll be recording another episode soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, as normal, thank you for coming by, I guess. Yeah, whatever.
Greg.
What
No
else?
problem.
Happy
Thanks.
to
The guy that hates
Sleeper.
space travel. The guy that just wants to stay at home and not do anything.
What
I
if
got
it
a
was, what if it was a
tablet.
spaceship where all the iPads of the future are built into it? And you can
Every
listen-
service
This
is
isn't
an
about
iPad.
iPads. This is about me not want like. I
All
think
right,
this
all right,
came
we'll save
off
it for another
incorrect.
time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been
Save
a
it for
pleasure
another
serving
time.
you
Space
this
is cool.
evening. We'll see you next week.